The second thing that I would say is that one of the biggest things that can make a dramatic change is when you have a situation that you're going to be entering into, so a new venture, you want to make sure that your goals are lined up with your actions. And one of the biggest actions that you can take is how you present what you do. So a lot of the, in times gone by, presentations used to be in paper format, or they would send brochures and things like that were, similar things that you would post to people. And then as technology moved on, it was all in electronic format. But in this day and age, what a lot of people are looking at now is social media. So if you like to get really, really loose at the weekend and, you're harem scarum, then you might be the most professional person Monday to Friday. You might be the rising star. You might be the diamond in the rough. But you got to remember is that when you're doing these things, it's when you're improving each interaction that you have, you're getting yourself a little closer to your goal. It's a bit like going up a slope. So you're trying to ascend this slope, and what you don't want to do is slide down. And if you have a social media profile that doesn't present you in the best possible light, then it's maybe worth cleaning up. Because if someone checks you out and they have a look at your social medias and you see what you're portraying doesn't match what's on your social media profiles, it's probably something you want to give a bit of thought to. I had a recent interaction with a young guy who was starting out in business, and he had asked for a bit of advice. So, I'd said to him, I says, look, follow me in the podcast. Lots of great tips, strategies. There's lots of people on there that have had, a really great start and then had a fall, or something's happened in their life. Circumstances have got in the way. Maybe they've went bust, and then they've learned something along the way, which they share, which is great tips. And then how they've climbed out that hole that they found themselves in. So it's a great way to go and get information without you making the same mistakes. You can avoid that by listening to other people's stories, taking notes, and making sure that you can see what comes up next by their stories. And then if you see that in your adventure into the world of business and investing, you can then go, hey, this looks similar to that, and you can take some action. You can avoid the mistake. So the guy had followed me, and I followed him back, and he'd taken the time to tell me about the industry, the sector that he was looking to get involved in, what the business plan was, and so on and so forth. When I seen his social media profile, I thought his social media profile looks, the type of impression that I got from his social platforms were nothing like the guy that I'd had the conversation with. And had I not had the conversation with him to go into detail about what it is that he was doing, if someone had emailed me the same details and I hadn't had the interaction, I would have completely ignored what he was presenting, because I'd have had one look and went, this is good. There's no way, because the type of image and how they're representing themselves in socials to how they're representing themselves in terms of the business world don't match. And a lot, not to get, some people might find that as, again, not being authentic, but let me put it to you another way. You can be the best business person in the world during business hours, and then you can do whatever you like in your free time, and no one's going to stop you, right? And if you're a successful business person or investor or whatever you may be, great, go for it. Fill your boots. Right? But if you're starting and you need help, and you need interactions, or you need customers, or you're looking to make relationships and build bridges, you need to put yourself in the best possible position that you don't slide away from that bit of the slope where people go, hey, look, that doesn't match up. And again, I would have done the same when I seen the social platforms. I'd have said, look, this just doesn't appear to be, a viable kind of someone that's got their stuff together. They're in a line. what they're presenting isn't going to work in this environment that they're going to try and get into. And people will prejudge you. So, they say, don't judge you. Listen to me. Listen. Everyone judges everyone. First impression, they make an instant call. It could be right, it could be wrong, but it's going to happen. So what I'm suggesting is take the time. Present yourself in the best possible light. If you're going to have a crack at it, do it. Have a go and make the effort. You have an idea, some of the people that I've spoke to over the years, they have had the worst business plan I've ever seen. Their numbers were all over the place. They were scatterbrained in terms of the numbers. They didn't know the numbers. They knew the business. They knew the sectors. They knew what drove that part of the industry. They were driven. They were motivated, right? And they needed help. And I would back them because it was who they were, right? We can fix the numbers. We can get them on point. We can show you the way to do it, right? But what they had something about them. They presented themselves really well. They came across really well. They had an air of passion and drive that you could sense. You could pick that up. You ever spoke to someone who's got real drive and passion? I don't mean they're motivated. I mean driven. Motivation is fleeting. It comes, it goes. Motivation it's like the weather. It changes all the time. When someone's driven, they don't care about the weather. They'll go rain, sun, hail, doesn't matter. Thunderstorm outside, okay, I've got a goal, I've got a purpose, I'm going to get it. So you will back those people because you like what they're about, because they live and breathe their dream or their goal, and you will back them and you will help them and make sure that they get the best possible help.